Hi, third graders. Welcome back to part 2 of our reading lesson for this week. So we've been practicing the act of wondering while we read expository nonfiction books. And we do this to help us kind of get sucked into what we're reading and think deeply about what we're reading, and just to help us understand what we're reading. And so we're going to keep doing that today. But the main goal today is to teach you how to write a journal entry where you practice the skill of wondering in your own expository nonfiction books that you are reading. I'll talk at the end of this video about how to find some good expository nonfiction books if you don't have any at home, which probably many of you don't. I don't know how many we have, and any that we do, I'm sure we've read too many times already to really learn anything new from. Okay, so when we are wondering and we're reading a book, we want to use a strategy called stop and ask questions. And that just means that we're really going to pay attention to stopping every couple of pages or every couple of minutes and really push ourselves to ask some questions. This is a new skill, so it doesn't come naturally yet. So when things don't just automatically happen, then we have to make ourselves practice those things. That's how we get better at them, just like anything. So we're really going to practice today making ourselves stop and ask questions as we read. And then at the end of your IDR, at the end of your reading, I'm going to ask you to write a journal entry about one of the questions that you stopped and asked as you were reading. So it's kind of a two-part journal entry. There's coming up with a list of questions as you read your book, and then afterwards, writing a journal entry about one of those questions that you came up with as you were reading. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to open a Microsoft Word document, and if you handwrite yours, that's totally fine. It's just easiest for me to show you how to do this when I'm in a Microsoft Word document. So I'm going to try to make my screen a little bit bigger here so I can show you the book that I'm reading. So I'm going to read a few pages from Explore the Desert that I didn't get to on Tuesday. And I'm going to show you how, as I read just a few pages, I really force myself to stop and practice the skill of asking questions. And at the top of my reading journal entry, I just want to set this up first. So if you need to pause the video now so that you can get a piece of paper or a pencil, go ahead and do that and restart it when you're ready. Okay, so at the top of the page, I'm just going to write reading journal entry for wondering in expository nonfiction. That's a long title. So if you need to just write reading journal entry for wondering, that will be enough for me to understand what it is that you're sending me. Okay. And after that, I'm going to skip a line and then I'm going to write stop and ask questions, colon. And then after that, that's where I'm going to list the questions that I come up with as I'm reading. And that's what I would like you to do also. So if you need to pause the video here so that you can write this title for your journal entry and then write stop and ask questions so you can list the questions you come up with during IDR, go ahead and pause now so you can write those things and we start when you're ready. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I would read and stop every once in a while and list some questions in my reading journal entry. So I'm going to go to page 8, which is one of the pages I skipped the other day. It's about desert plants. Okay, so I'll just read a little bit and then I'll stop and ask questions. Splash. Raindrops splatter on the desert. Desert plants have waited months, maybe even years, for the rain. Rain brings life to the desert. After a few days, hidden seeds start to sprout. Soon, spiky spinifex grasses pop up from the ground. Cactuses soak up as much water as they can. In just a month, wildflowers cover desert hillsides. Bright blossoms sprout from thorny cactuses. Bees zip between flowers. Antelope nibble on new green leaves. And it says that this is a picture of spinifex grasses. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the next page. Actually, I'm going to stop here because I've read a chunk and I really want to be able to practice this skill. I'm going to stop at the end of this page and just think to myself, what questions do I have after reading this page? And there's a lot of really cool information here. I guess I'm reading at the end here that the antelope nibble on the new green leaves after it rains, but if it doesn't rain for a really long time, then what do the antelope eat in between rainy times? So my question, I'm going to write the page number, page 8. What do antelope eat in the desert when there isn't any rain? Okay, and then I'm going to keep reading. So this page shows, it's very hard to show that. Bright yellow flowers burst open on a prickly pear cactus. Okay, saving water. Because rain is rare in the desert, plants must store water. Prickly cactuses have ways to live in the desert. Shallow roots spread out to collect water across a wide area of the ground. Hard, waxy skin holds in water. Sharp spines keep thirsty animals away. Fact. I'm going to have to take this up to my face to read it. The yucca plant is food for many desert dwellers. Jackrabbits nibble their leaves. Gophers eat their roots. Birds and mice snatch up yucca seeds. Saguaro and other cactuses are a type of succulent plant. Succulents store water. And then on the next page, there's a picture, and the caption for that says, the Nara plant grows in the dry Namib desert. The bushes' roots store water. In Africa's Namib desert, small leafless bushes dot the brown rocky ground. The twisted gray branches make the plants look dead, but they aren't. To live in this harsh land, the Nara plant has thick roots deep underground that store water. Okay, so I'm going to make myself stop again here. It's been 2 pages, so it's time to stop and practice the skill of wondering. And it says the Nara plant has really thick roots that go deep underground. And I just wonder, how thick are they and how deep do they go? So that's page 11. How thick are the Nara roots and how deep do they go? Okay. So I'm going to stop showing you now how to do this. I think you probably understand it. But that's what I would like you to do as you do your IDR today. And hopefully you'll come up with at least 3 or 4 questions as you're reading. It would be awesome if it's even more than that. Okay, then when you're done with your IDR, so pretend like I've read for at least 20 minutes and I have a list of 3 or 4 questions here. Then you're just going to go skip another line or 2 and you're going to do your journal entry underneath your list of questions. So just like always with journal entries, I'm going to give you some sentence starters, and they always start the same way. So I'm going to start with I read, and then tell you the title of the book I read. So I read Explore the Desert by K. Jackson. And then I'm just going to write one quick sentence about what the book is about. This book is about how animals and plants survive in the desert. Okay. Then for this journal entry, I'd like you to write one thing that you learned and what that thing made you wonder. So you're going to choose one of these questions to include in your journal entry, but since we really want to practice using details from the text to create our ideas or our questions, I'd like you to also talk about what is it that you learned that made you wonder this thing. So So what is the detail from the text that helped you come up with this question? So let's see. I think I want to write this question about what the antelope eat in the desert when there isn't any rain. So I'm going to go back to page 8 to really remember. It said antelope nibble on new green leaves after it rains. Okay, so I'm going to write, I learned that after it rains in the desert, lots of plants bloom and leaves grow. When this happens, antelope come and eat new leaves. Okay, so I wrote down the thing that I learned. I wrote down the detail from the text. Now I'm going to add on my question. So this made me wonder. And I'm just going to look up at my question. What do antelope eat in the desert when there isn't any rain? Okay, almost done. The last sentence is to talk about whether or not the text answered this question. If it did answer the question, then say what the answer was. If it didn't answer the question, then say that it didn't answer it, but talk about something else that you learned instead. So my book doesn't ever answer that question of what antelope eat when there isn't any rain. So I'm going to write the text did, or if it did, you'd write it did. If it didn't, you'd write it didn't. Answer this question. If it did answer it, you'd say the text did answer this question by telling me that blah, 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 blah. But mine didn't answer the question. So the text didn't answer this question. But I will say, but something else I learned is that, and I really liked that part about how mice nibble on seeds. Birds and mice snatch up yucca seeds. Okay. So something else I learned is that birds and mice will eat seeds of the yucca plant. Okay, and that's it. Then you're done. So just a couple little things to finish this up. When you're done with the journal entry, please submit it to me. There will be a reading journal entry submission page in the Submit Your Work Here folder. What else was I going to say? Completely flew out of my brain. This is what I was going to say. I would like you to try to read an expository nonfiction book for this journal entry. So that's a book that is true, that is teaching you something about a topic. But I know that you might have really limited access to books right now. So if you really can't find an expository nonfiction book, then I guess that's okay. You can do it for a different book that you do have. You'll still be practicing the skill of wondering. It just won't be for expository nonfiction. So we'll just make it work. But if you go to Epic Books, if you have an account, which you should have through your classroom, there are tons and tons of expository nonfiction books there. I've even sent you, I believe, 2 different collections of expository nonfiction books that you can choose from. So that would be a great place for you to look if you don't have an actual hardcover or paperback book that you can read in front of you. Then you can use one from Epic Books. Okay, I think that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. It'd be great if you can finish this by the end of Friday, but if you need more time, that's okay. Enjoy your books and enjoy asking questions. And I'm really excited to see what you write and what you discover. Thank you.